Hey guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Blockbuster proposed NBA trade has Warriors land $221 million Wolves star. The Golden State Warriors could go in several different directions this offseason, but the franchise may need to explore potential trades to return to contention. Stephen Curry's window is not getting any longer, and it will be worth watching to see if the Warriors move some of their young talent for another star. Bleacher Report's Andy Bailey floated potential trade options for every NBA team. The analyst pondered whether the Minnesota Timberwolves may be willing to move Karl-Anthony Towns if they are unable to advance to the NBA Finals. Having this idea in the realistic category assumes the Warriors would be interested in Karl-Anthony Towns, Bailey explained in a May 22, 2024 story titled, Dream and Realistic Offseason Targets for Every NBA Team. That may sound like a bit of a stretch, but it wouldn't be the first time that player and team were connected, and it still feels more likely than the Minnesota Timberwolves moving KAT. With the way he and the Wolves are playing, a championship is very much in play. And if that happens, you can bet the organization, even if ownership is still in flux, will keep the starting five together, Bailey continued. If, however, the Dallas Mavericks win the conference finals in relatively short order, the front office might have to think about some luxury tax relief. The chances of the Warriors prying away Towns remain slim, but let's explore what a potential proposed deal would look like. The Bleacher Report trade proposal has the Warriors creating a package around Jonathan Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski, and/or Moses Moody. It is worth noting that financially it's hard to imagine a Warriors-Timberwolves deal working without the inclusion of Andrew Wiggins in addition to the above pieces. If, however, the Dallas Mavericks win the conference finals in relatively short order, the front office might have to think about some luxury tax relief, Bailey added. The T-Wolves could get that salary relief, picks and some combination of Jonathan Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski, and/or Moses Moody from Golden State. Towns' 4-year, $221 million contract extension is slated to run through the 2027-28 season. The four-time All-Star has a player option that would allow him to hit free agency in 2027. Towns has a sizable $49.3 million cap hit for the 2024-25 season, per Spotrac's estimate. Towns has been no stranger to trade rumors throughout his career, but the time may have passed for a team like the Warriors to pluck the big man away from Minnesota. The star was one of the major reasons why the Timberwolves were able to snag a comeback victory against the Denver Nuggets in Game 7. Towns averaged 21.8 points, 8.3 rebounds, and 3 assists per game while shooting 41.6% from long range in 62 starts during the regular season. It would be appealing for the Wolves to add young players like Kuminga and Moody around Anthony Edwards. Minnesota also has depth down low thanks to Rudy Gobert and Naz Reid. Yet, it is difficult to envision Minnesota breaking up this core, even after a potential loss in the Western Conference Finals. For the Warriors, the team would be wise to explore adding another key piece to the trio of Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson. The idea of luring Towns away from Minnesota seems unlikely. The Golden State Warriors are a team that has shown interest in Milwaukee Bucks superstar Giannis Antetokounmpo in the past. The Dubs' supposed fascination with the 8-time All-Star reportedly came back to life after the Bucks suffered another early exit in the postseason. The only way Giannis leaves Milwaukee is if he demands a trade. In this scenario, the Bucks would demand an extremely steep price from trade suitors. Do the Warriors have the cash to make a deal work? According to Eddie Bitar of Fadeaway World, the Warriors have enough assets to lure Giannis to the Bay Area. Below are the eye-popping details of what a blockbuster trade deal would look like between Golden State and the Bucks. Bucks get Jonathan Kuminga, Andrew Wiggins, Moses Moody, Brandon Podziemski, Kevin Looney, Tracy Jackson-Davis, 2028 first-round pick. Warriors get Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's a whole lot of assets in exchange for one man. However, if you're the Warriors, this might be a risk worth taking. Bitar obviously seems to think so. While the departure of key players like Kuminga and Wiggins would undoubtedly sting, the opportunity to add a generational talent like Giannis could propel the Warriors back to the forefront of NBA contention. Meanwhile, the Milwaukee Bucks stand to benefit from this deal by acquiring a host of promising young players, along with future draft assets to facilitate their own roster development, but could have enough talent to keep making the playoffs as currently constructed, Bitar wrote. There is a scenario wherein the Bucks still come out on top even if they lose their cornerstone superstar. This wild trade proposal could be one of those. Losing Giannis will be an extremely tough blow, but the fact that they are able to secure their future with this deal makes it a very attractive one, all things considered, of course. Andrew Wiggins is a former All-Star who could help make the Bucks remain relevant alongside Damian Lillard and Chris Middleton. Jonathan Kuminga, on the other hand, has the makings of a cornerstone stud for the not-so-distant future. Along with very promising talents in Brandon Podziemski and Tracy Jackson-Davis, this deal allows the Bucks are able to secure their ability to compete in their post-Antetokounmpo era. Two teams named as potential landing spots for Chris Paul. The Golden State Warriors faced plenty of criticism when they traded for Chris Paul in the offseason. It wasn't about Paul, but giving up on Jordan Poole so shortly after giving him a huge contract was a controversial move. Paul was clearly better suited to play off the bench instead of starting alongside Stephen Curry, although both shared the court at times and looked quite solid. So, even though he missed plenty of time with an injury, and regardless of the Warriors' struggles this season, he clearly wasn't their biggest issue, or even an issue at all. However, the Warriors have until June 28 to decide whether to exercise his $30 million team option. If they choose to waive him, he can become a free agent. With that in mind, NBA insider Mark Stein reports that the San Antonio Spurs and Los Angeles Lakers have emerged as the likeliest destinations for the legendary point guard, via NBA Central. The report also states that Paul's lifelong friendship with LeBron James, as well as his desire to stay close to his family in Los Angeles, clearly could tilt the scale in favor of the purple and gold. Chris Paul is no longer the player he used to be, as he's already 39 years old. He's injury-prone and has had serious struggles in the playoffs, but he's still one of the best point guards ever, and any team would benefit from having a floor general like himself pulling the strings of their offense, even if it's coming off the bench. Milwaukee Bucks, Malik Beasley's uncertain future draws eye-opening Golden State Warriors twist. At this point in the offseason, it wouldn't be insane to think that Malik Beasley may have already played his final game for the Milwaukee Bucks. The 27-year-old has played out his current deal, and he will become an unrestricted free agent this summer. The big question now is whether or not the Bucks will be willing to offer Beasley a new deal. If they aren't, it appears that the 6'4" shooting guard will generate interest from elsewhere, including that from the Golden State Warriors. According to NBA insider Kelly Iko of The Athletic, the Warriors are considering offering Beasley a contract via free agency. Hat tip Legion Hoops on X, formerly Twitter. The interest from the Warriors does not come as a shocker. After all, Beasley proved this past season that he is one of the deadliest sharpshooters in the NBA. The Dubs know a thing or two about three-point marksmen, and it only makes sense that they add even more firepower to their squad after their disappointing 2023-24 campaign. For their part, the Bucks now have competition for Beasley. They might need to pay more than they were willing to now that a team like the Warriors has reportedly registered interest in the veteran swingman. That is, of course, under the assumption that Milwaukee even wants Beasley back for another season. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Malik Beasley? Leave your opinion in the comments.